What's the crack? Today I'm going to be looking at something a little bit different. So a couple of years ago I was in college doing a project in which we had to pick a film out of a mound of little pieces of paper that had a film name on it. We had to watch the film and study and analyze the sound design and produce a 25-minute, half an hour long video dedicated to talking about the sound design. And the way that a lot of people did that, including myself, was that they would talk about a certain aspect and then show a scene where that aspect is being showcased in the movie. If you like the film Zodiac, then this will probably be quite interesting, but it will be a very long video. And if you are not interested in the film, but you still want to kind of get into sound design, I highly suggest you watch this as kind of a jumping off point, because this is when I was still not entirely sure of anything to do with sound. I was very new to this at the time, so if I were to do this again for a different film, I would probably go a lot more in depth, or I would try to pick less obvious aspects of the film. But I still stand by a lot of the opinions that I had at the time of the film. It was just that I wasn't as educated as I am now, and it might be something that, if everybody likes to see some longer videos, I'd love to do it on a different film. And I'd love to take suggestions. So if you do have any, feel free to message me on my Instagram downstairs in the link, and you'll be able to tell me, hey, watch this film and do a big ass sound design analyzation. Aside from that, here is the very amateur project that I gave to my lecturer and had to then show in front of my entire class and then do a Q&A session.
The film I've studied for this project is Zodiac, directed by David Fincher. It tells the story of the manhunt for a notorious serial killer who called himself the Zodiac, and killed in and around the San Francisco Bay Area during the late 1960s and early 1970s, leaving several victims in his wake and taunting police with letters, blood-stained clothing, and ciphers mailed to newspapers. The case remains one of the United States' most infamous unsolved crimes. The first scene I'm going to show is the opening scene, and David Fincher originally envisioned the film's soundtrack to be composed of 40 cues of vintage music spanning the nearly 3 decades of the Zodiac story, as opposed to an original score. He wanted a tapestry of sound design, vintage songs of the period, sound bites and clips of the local radio station, and he told the studio that he did not need a composer and would buy various songs instead. They agreed, but as the film developed, sound designer and longtime Fincher collaborator Ren Kleiss felt there were places in some scenes that could have used music. Scheuer also contributed to the sound and feel of the movie by stating the fact that there are 12 signs of the Zodiac, and there is a way of using atonal and tonal music. So we use 12 tones, never repeating any of them, but manipulating them. He also used specific instruments to represent the characters: the trumpet for Detective Toschi, the solo piano for Robert Graysmith, and the dissonant strings for the Zodiac Killer, which will be heard in this scene.
So heartless. How can people be so cruel? Easy to be hard, easy to be cold. How can people have no feeling? How can they ignore their friends?
Where have you been? I've been waiting since 7.
Get in, I have to find fireworks.
Let me drive.
Get in, I haven't eaten in 24 hours. Are you coming or not?
What are we doing?
Sitting, listening to music, talking.
You seem weird. Is everything okay?
Yeah, everything's fine. It's July. How many shirts are you wearing?
I'm cold.
You're cold on the 4th of July.
Fuck off and die!
What?
Fuck off and die?
Shut up. Was that car the driver? I saw that car, Mr. Vance. Do you want me to tell him to leave?
Stay in the car.
Was that your husband?
No.
Who was that, darling?
Don't worry about it.
Don't tell me not to worry. Who was it?
It's nothing.
Let's go. Now, Dee. Get your wallet. Man, you really creeped us out.
Here comes a roly-poly man, he's singing songs of love. Roly-poly, 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 poly, his sang.
Vallejo Police Department.
I want to report a double murder.
May I have
If
your
you
name
go 1
and where
mile
you're calling?
east on Columbus Parkway, the public park, you'll find kids in a brown car. They were shot with a 9mm Luger. I also killed those kids last year. Goodbye.
The first thing I noticed about that scene was the loud Foley. Everything felt very loud. The car engine from inside the car, the lighter as he flicked it open and closed, the footsteps while he was running to the car, the tires on the ground, the fireworks, the car that was driving away. Everything was very loud. Although I did find it very interesting that they made the music both diegetic and non-diegetic as well. One of the things that Robert Graysmith noted on when he visited the set was that David Fincher was so intent on making the sound of the movie accurate and realistic, and in order to achieve that, he didn't just get props. According to Graysmith, he filled the desks with things that someone who worked at the Chronicle would have had in their drawers, just so opening and closing the drawers would sound the right way. He got real phones that worked and were plugged in and actually rang while the scene was playing out. He got real typewriters that people were actually typing on as the scene was happening. All of this apparently isn't added in post, but happened while the scene was actually being shot. And while David Fincher obviously has to be proud of the fact that it worked, I feel that he overused it a bit. And this is what I mean by that.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Oh, Stan, tell Mr. Howe the draft work piece was damn near perfect. Graysmith. All right. All right, wait.
Yes.
Go get the publisher.
You'll have the material.
All right.
Graysmith, don't you have a cartoon to finish?
Oh, yeah.
Robert, we need the cartoon.
Oh.
You're not finished?
No, I'm finished, Carol. I'm finished. Terrio's still here.
Really?
The physician is off the floor in 10, Charles.
Give us a sec.
Okay, replate. We'll go on page 4.
Morty's? Anyone? Where I'm heading.
The cipher is broken into 3 sections.
Press conference is at 4. Gotta give him something.
We're coordinating with the school board and...
We're playing catch-up, Jack. Okay, I'll put it in the mail.
We'll mail ours, too.
Why did I call Solano?
Because the 2 kids that got killed last Christmas were Solanos.
Okay.
Room of the San Francisco Chronicle.
Geographically, every attack took place near a body of water or water-based state. I'm reading this book, Homicide Investigation by Lamone Snyder. And it says you look for patterns, so I'm looking for patterns.
No.
Sam. I shall no longer announce to anyone when I commit my work, since, etc. The police.
All of these clips were taken from the first half an hour of the 2-hour and 40-minute long movie. You can imagine how annoying it gets. Still a great movie, but it was a little bit heavy-handed on the whole these are real 70s phones thing. Up until now, the film has been very loud, very full of Foley, full of voices, people talking to each other. It all sounds very busy. It all sounds very loud. The next scene, however, is exactly the opposite of that. And it takes place in Lakeview, which, as the name would suggest, is a lake, where 2 people are on a date, and the Zodiac has decided that they will be the next victims. It has no music, virtually no added sound. It's a lot of ambience, birds chirping, some wind, but the thing that makes it so creepy is the lack of sound, and that creates all of the suspense in the scene. And the first time I watched it, it felt almost laughable when the murder happened because it was so uneventful and anticlimactic, but that just made it even creepier by the fact that all you can hear is breathing and screaming and nothing else. And it's a very good scene.
Paul.
Yes, Tim.
Editorial now.
Very well.
Another letter. More of the same. Details about the murders. He taped a flashlight to the gun. That's how he hit him in the dark.
And he gave himself a name.
You know, this used to be the town of Monticello. But at some point, the
The county decided that the land would work better as a lake, so they flooded it. But there's an entire...
Hidden city under the water. We were here last spring, remember?
Oh, yeah.
Somebody else is here.
It is a public park.
I think he's watching us.
Well, we're very good looking.
Where'd he go? Right behind that tree.
All right, so he's taking a leak.
He's coming towards us. Oh my God, he has a gun.
Don't move. I want your money and your car keys.
Okay. We're not gonna do anything, okay? We're gonna cooperate. Just tell me what you want us to do. You're welcome to everything I have. If there's anything else I could do for you, maybe I could write you a check. Okay, I could give you my phone number. You know, I might be able to help you. Even more than you might think.
He's a sociology major.
Pre-law. Actually. Keys. You know, I'm sorry, I don't know exactly where I put my keys. They might be on the blanket. Is it okay? Here's the keys.
Don't get up. I want her to tie you up.
Okay.
Don't get any ideas.
I'm not.
I killed a guard escaping from prison in Montana.
I'm not doing anything, okay?
I'm not afraid to kill again. Look away.
What was the name of that prison? Hey, you said it was in Montana, right?
I'm taking your car. I'm going to Mexico.
We didn't complain when you tied our hands. Okay, you have everything that I have. We have done everything that you've asked. It's okay.
She tied you loose, didn't she? Get on your stomach so I can tie your feet.
Okay. It gets really cold out here at night. We could freeze. Okay, you all done? You know, just because people are going to ask, was that thing even loaded?
It's okay. This is all gonna be okay.
The next scene directly follows on from the last and introduces Detective Inspector Tosky to the movie, as well as his involvement in the investigation. As well as the usual Foley artistry that takes place, such as the lamp falling on the ground and the engine noises, it also became very apparent to me in this scene in particular the importance of the sound of people speaking over the phone, as well as through the radio. While there has been radio already in the film, it was only in this scene that I realised what detail must have gone into deciding the quality of the voice, the clarity, the amount of static and distortion, and I found that really interesting while watching the movie.
And that will be all for the news on the 20. We've got curfews in effect tonight for the following counties: Napa, Solano, Contra Costa, Alameda, Marin, and San Mateo. So please, everyone, stay safe. Vic in San Francisco, you're on the line. You're not scared of the Zodiac?
Heck no, he's only shooting those farm kids. What scares me is those hippies out in the hay with their free love and weird clothes.
We've got Alfred from Vacaville.
You know, I think that was really offensive. It's not just farm kids. These are nice, clean-cut young people.
Hey, nobody's downplaying the loss of human life here, Alfred.
Well, that last guy was. We have good, solid communities out here in the North Bay. Unlike in the city where you have Satanists running around.
Well, you bring up a good question. Is the Zodiac a Satanist? Amber from Oakland, what do you think?
I don't really know, but I just know that the codes that they printed didn't look very Christian. But I think a bigger problem is that the paper shouldn't have printed anything that the Zodiac has been doing. That they're just printing all that stuff to sell more newspapers.
Well, the Zodiac did demand they print his letters or he'd kill more people.
Yeah, but he would have done it anyway, whether they printed it or not.
Yeah, interesting point. So what do you think he'll do next?
San Francisco Police Department?
Yep, there's a fight in a cab.
What is your location?
3390 at Washington, at the corner of Church. One's drunk and we think he's robbing him.
Is the crime still in progress?
Yes, please hurry.
Whoever this is, you owe me a new lamp.
Cabby's been shot 3 blocks from the Presidio.
Mm-hmm. Well, it wasn't me. I've been with my bride all night. She can vouch.
Go put on the Folgers.
You'll pick me up?
Let me just describe the lamp you're gonna buy me. I just got to sleep.
Suspect's Negro male adult. Waltz on scene, locked off the cab and secured the crowd.
Seriously, dead asleep. I lost feeling in my arm and everything.
Crackers. You ever tried Japanese food?
What do you mean, like teriyaki?
No, like the urchin. Raw fish.
I'm eating here, Bill.
I always wanted to try it.
So why don't you?
I haven't got around to it.
I will now show you 2 scenes in a row to demonstrate the importance of the musical cues that David Fincher had written and originally intended to be the only music in the film before the decision was made to make an original soundtrack. The 2 most prominent I found were the solo piano for Robert Graysmith and the dissonant strings for the Zodiac. In the first scene, you'll notice everything is quiet because of the gravity of the situation at hand, and the solo piano simply adds to the mystery. In the second scene, you'll find that everyone is talking. Everyone is trying to figure out the case. Everyone is trying to put their own say into the investigation. And these strings build up and up and up until they eventually reach some sort of conclusion in the scene.
In cooperation with SFPD, we will run the Zodiac letter without including the threat on school children. We don't want to start a citywide panic, so I'm asking all of you to please keep this confidential. Just go about your daily business. Thank you.
Pack your carrots and your celery peanut butter, okay?
Dad, you don't have to wait for me.
I know. You know what? You know what? I'm gonna drive today, okay? Come on.
You can't think of this case in normal police terms.
Why not?
You got 4 crime scenes: Solano, Vallejo, Berryessa, and here. Not a single usable print of the first 3 or in any of the letters?
How does our master criminal come to the city and leave a bloody latent? I mean, assuming the gloves are his, he shoots the cabbie and then takes them off?
So it's not his print.
Maybe, maybe not. You're missing the point. The point is, the first attack,
David Faraday and Betty Jensen.
they both died. From there on out, he only manages to kill the girls.
Not for lack of trying.
Not for lack of trying.
Joe lives, Farron dies, Hartnell lives, Shepard dies. He gets so caught up with the women, he forgets to finish off the men.
Plus, they're all couples and all on lovers' lanes.
Paul Stein is not.
Exactly.
Single male cab driver on Washington and Cherry doesn't fit.
Doesn't fit. So, why does Zodiac kill him?
He's breaking the pattern.
Originally, the film was intended to be an awful lot longer. David Fincher wanted to provide the most detailed story possible, but the studio wanted him to make it shorter. In the end, the film ended up being about 2 hours and 42 minutes. And the next scene was originally intended to be a compilation of visual and audio scenes that were to progress in time to show you that it would in fact be 4 years later. Instead, because the film runtime had to be brought down, they put this in instead.
We today have concluded an agreement to end the war and bring peace with honor in Vietnam.
Charles Manson for the Tate LaBianca mass murders, pleaded guilty in the Chowchilla kidnapping case. Murder trial of Juan Corona with the slain.
Chairman Mao died today. He was
An
the first
absolute
man.
pardon unto Richard Nixon.
Well, I'm not a crook.
A generation of hostility and to launch a new...
Now led to the death of 50,000 Americans and several hundred thousand Vietnamese.
Patricia Hearst was kidnapped by the Symbionese Liberation Army.
Stand up together. Say no more.
Sanctions to put an end to apartheid.
Your Declaration of Independence protesting.
Americans admire the United Kingdom.
Mr. Hoffman has disappeared.
We have no information despise our own government that the police have captured a man whom they believe to be the son of Sam.
The final scene in the film is a very emotional one, and as close as we can get to a resolution in the plot, mainly because in real life the case is still open for investigation and was never officially solved. It takes place in an airport, which, as you can imagine, has all of the usual airport noises: passengers, planes, crowded large area. But the man that enters an interview room with a police officer is Michael Mageau, the boy that was shot in the opening scene in a car. He had left town for fear of the Zodiac coming back and trying to finish the job, and he was never to be heard from again. Eventually, though, the police tracked him down for this interview. And because of how quiet it is in this room compared to the airport outside, you're hanging off every word of dialogue. And the thing that I found most interesting about it was, after watching 2 or 3 times, I realized that the song that was playing the very first time we meet the Zodiac through the car stereo was the Hurdy-Gurdy Man by Donovan. And as Michael Mageau identifies the Zodiac killer, that same song plays out the ending of the film. I find that this is the best possible ending that we could achieve from the film, given the real-life circumstances, as we are brought full circle in the story, and we are given what little closure we can be given by one of the survivors of the Zodiac killings.
show. Thanks for coming to see me.
You're the one I talked to on the phone?
I'm George Bauer, Vallejo PD. I took over for Jack Molex.
It's been 22 years. I don't know how I can help you.
Well, this is just a formality. I'm going to show you a group of photographs. Now, the person that shot you may or may not be among these photographs. You don't have to pick anybody out just because I'm showing you these pictures, you understand?
Yes, sir, I do.
All right. Take your time. If you don't recognize anyone, that's okay.
It's him.
How sure are you?
I'm pretty sure. He had a round face like this guy.
Wait, am I to understand that you're now identifying this second photograph?
No, just that he had a round face like that. It's this man.
All right. Now, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being positive, how sure are you?
At least an 8. Last time I saw this face was July 4th, 1969. I'm very sure that's the man who shot me.
Thrown like a star in my vast sleep, I opened my eyes to take a peek, to find that I was by the sea, gazing with tranquility. Just then when the hurdy-gurdy man came singing songs of love, then when the hurdy-gurdy man came singing songs of love. Hurdy-gurdy, hurdy-gurdy, sad. Hurdy-gurdy, 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 sad. Hurdy-gurdy, 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 sad.